Okay, we're learning the Sicha, Chelik Tezvav on Parshas Vayetze. We're holding in the last paragraph of Oisir Aleph, which is on page 240. So the Rebbe here is explaining the Maila of the third Beis HaMikdash over the other two Batei Mikdash, based on the Gemara, where it says that the three Batei Mikdash correspond to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So what we learned in the entire Sicha Barichas and Be'ikir in the last Oisir, in Oisir Aleph, we learned last week, Avram is connected to the first Beis HaMikdash because what characterizes the condition of Klal Yisrael during the first Beis HaMikdash is a time of Gilui Elikos. And therefore, Yidden's Aveda in that time period is Be'ikir with Ava, a connection, a feeling with love. And that, based on what we learned here in the Sicha, is connected to Tzion. However, the second Beis HaMikdash, Yidden were not on the same level. There were 5 things that were missing in the second Beis HaMikdash. And Bechlal, Klal Yisrael then was on a lower level. And therefore, the second Beis HaMikdash is connected to Yitzchak. Yitzchak's main Aveda is Bittul, Yira. And the Bittul that I was talking about over here is a person that does not feel the connection. He's struggling, but he subdues himself. He's having Yira and Kabbalah Soil. That's the second Beis HaMikdash. And there's a Maila in that. There's a Maila to Yira. There's a Maila when a person is breaking himself and doing it for the sake of Hashem. Now, the third Beis HaMikdash is the Bayis Nitzchi Keneged Yaakov, which is the ultimate Beis HaMikdash, which is a combination of the two, as the Rebbe explains it. Let's see. So, on the last paragraph of page 240. The Aveda from Yaakov, Bechira Avos, Yaakov, which is referred to as the chosen of all the Avos, is B'chinas Kava Amtzoi Teferes. Yaakov represents the middle category, which includes both, and that's Teferes. Was is Kailul Beide Kav Sai Avedas Avram Kav Chesed Va'ava, and Sai Avedas Yitzchak, which is Kav Hagvure V'Hayira. And the Rebbe is connected by his Gimel. Therefore, Yaakov, his level is corresponding to the third Beis HaMikdash. Was download with Zayin the Iskalos from Beide Mailas. When Mashiach comes with the building of the third Beis HaMikdash, it'll include both levels together. Which means on one hand, Tachlis Hashleimus von Gilui Elikos, noch Mervis is given by Rishon. It'll be the ultimate and complete level of godly revelation, and even more in the first Beis HaMikdash. So it'll have the Maila of the first Beis HaMikdash, Chinas Tzion, V'Teire, based on what we learned in the Sicha before. This is the concept of Tzion and Teire. Und zusammen damit wird euch sein der Bittul betachlis Hashleimus. At the same time, though, the level of Bittul won't be lacking either. Usually, when you have godly revelation, it's tremendous, it's great. But the level of Bittul, because you're experiencing it, so you feel it, so you connect to it with your Metzias. But no, Lasad Lavai, it'll also be Bittul betachlis Hashleimus. And that's the Dvar Avayim Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is the Yerushalayim. Take a look in Orah 91, the Rebbe says, Vapizay Shleima. Based on this, we understand Shehera Kadosh Baruch Hu Avram v'Yitzchak Habayis Banu Yemeshuchlo Lasad Lavai. It says in the Medrash that David showed Avram and Yitzchak the third Beis HaMikdash. So seemingly they are not connected to the third Beis HaMikdash. They're connected to the first and second. So the Rebbe explains, the Eibush is showing them a certain aspect of the third Beis HaMikdash. Avram had a bechinas tzion chulusha bebayis hagimel. Avram sees that aspect of the third Beis HaMikdash, which is connected to his inyan, like the first Beis HaMikdash. Yitzchak bechinas Yerushalayim shebebayis hagimel. But Yaakov is not an aspect of this third Beis HaMikdash. He is the shleimus of the third Beis HaMikdash. And the Rebbe brings also Rei Yifei Torah L'Breishis Rabbah Seif Parsha Samachei Shetam Sheher HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yitzchak Bayis HaGimel Kedei Shelo Yomru Ma Ha'ilu HaBrachas LeYaakov Cholo. The only reason the Rebbe shows Yitzchak the third Beis HaMikdash is not for Yitzchak himself. It's in order for it to be clear that Yitzchak's brachas will continue to Yaakov. So we see here from the Lashon that he says that the third Beis HaMikdash is connected dafke to Yaakov. Yeah, what? Yeah, if the brachas of to Yaakov are not going to be nitzchi, because the first and second Beis HaMikdash will be destroyed, then you'll say, well, okay, his brachas have a expiration date. They have an expiration date. So they wanted it to be clear that everyone should see that Yitzchak's bracha will ultimately be eternal. Okay, Sifyud base. Now here the Rebbe wraps it all up. He brings it back to what it says in the beginning of the Sicha, that one of the big milas it says in the Nevuah of Yeshaya that this is all based on is that the Goyim are all going to come to the Beis HaMikdash. Not the first Beis HaMikdash, not the second, but the third Dafke, and the fact that it's a bias connected Yaakov, that's what draws all the Goyim in. What's the connection? Why is that? Based on this, we know that now the reason was the Nitzchi is the Gekvias from Mikdash Shlishi, that this eternal Beis HaMikdash, the third Beis HaMikdash, that Shaykh is Dafke to Yaakovin. Dafke Yaakov is the one that Kore bias. On Oich via Zoi, this is Negeya to the Amim Rabbim. Why is this relevant to all nations? Was Van Zagen, then, only then will they say, L'chu v'nalel Beis HaLekei Yaakov v'kayim. Let's go to the Beis HaMikdash, and the Pasuk Dafke here is Medayik to point out this detail that it's there. What they see is the fact that it's Beis HaLekei Yaakov. Why is that relevant? So the explanation is as follows. Kagin yede midin kedusha is da midin lumazeh. The rule always is the Eibush creates the world zelu mazeh. Everything in kedusha has the opposite as well. Vazi is menaged to the midin kedusha, which is the opposition for that midin kedusha. So avazara is the midin was ken menaged zayin to avas Hashem. When one has love for other things, foolish things, so that's the midah that could take away a person from his love for Hashem. Kegen yiras Hashem, then what's the midah against yiras Hashem? Ken zayin the nigud fun yira roi kas. There is a person being afraid of stupid things or anger, which is also in the same category as yira. So the point is, as long as your connection to Hashem is limited to one category, then it's possible that there should be a lu'umazet to this. V'lashon Chazal, and relating this back to what it is by the Avos themselves, Avram Yatzim Imenu Yishmol. Avram, which represents Ave, but there's a Lo'umazeh, there's Yishmol. Ave from Lo'umazeh. Yitzchak Yatzim Imenu Esav, which is Yira from Lo'umazeh. Und der Fahr is bei Avodas Adam can sein as jeder von den Midas b'fnei atzmos mit haben kein Kiyum. This is the reason why if you have only one category in one derech and serving Hashem, so then it will not necessarily last. V'im izetes in the tetzah or pa'ulas hamida. And you could see this regarding Avram Avinu, what was the result and the outcome of what Avram did. The Gerim was Avram Avinu at Megayer given. Pasuk speaks about the Gerim as Nefesh Hashasa B'char. What happened to all of them? There's no hamshich to them. We don't know what happened to them. As the Rambam says, and it says in other places, that Avram Avinu's Gerim was not everlasting. Why is that? Because as great as the Avodah of Avram is, but it's still all limited in one category of Ava. And therefore there's a Lomazeh. The first and second Beis HaMikdash. As jeder von sie is given beikir in ein bechine umadrege. Each one of them represents primarily one level, one category. The Rebbe hatten sie gekannt sein als Schlitte von Lo'umenzeh und sie sind Chorev geworden. So it's possible for the Lo'umenzeh to come and ultimately they destroy the Beis HaMikdash. Ashe'en kemidas shel Yaakov, was sie is kailo beide kaven chesed u gvura, ken der Rebbe auf ihr nit sein kein menaged. When you are serving the Eibishter, and it's a combination of both together, Chesed and Gvura, then there's no opposition to this. And the Rebbe is dafke by Yaakov and Geven. You see this in Yaakov's own life regarding himself, Mitasa Shleimish Layatzim and Psul, that his children are all tzaddikim, unlike by Avram and Yitzchak. Und er sagt, ben ich gehe, dann bei Shlishi. Wie bald als ein weil sein beide Meiles von Sion wie Yerushalayim wird der Rebbe sein a bias kavua v'nitzchi. This is the reason why it'll be an eternal Beis HaMikdash. Okay, so now this is also the reason why all the Goyim are going to be drawn to come. We are not the first Beis HaMikdash, not the second, but after the third. Das ist echt der Tam. Hat Goshem Posik. Et v'holchu amim rabim v'omru luchu v'nal el har Hashem, El Beis Elekei Yaakov, and the pasuk goes on to say, Ki, was das is mitzad dem tam, was ki mitzion teitzei teira, u'devar Hashem Yerushalayim. So what's the connection? So kishem v'mizetes begashmias. As poil zayin afatzveiten. You see it very simply. If you try to influence somebody, kemen demeld ven yene zet as der was mon bayim meintes mit an emes. How do you influence someone else? Only if he sees that you're genuine. Even someone that's extremely passionate about something, but it's not with a real MS. So you come to someone with a certain passion, the other guy looks at you and says, I don't relate to your passion. The passion could be Ave, the passion could be Gvura, but it's a certain Kav which is reflecting a nature that this individual has, and another person that has a different character, He says, you're chesed, so you are passionate about this. I'm gvura, I'm passionate about something else. It doesn't necessarily go over, right? MS is something else. MS is not related to your character, to your nature. It's when it's MS genuine without any nitius and not based on the individual person. The same thing is here. Bichdei as Yidden. So in in Welt, in order that Yidden should have the power to influence the whole world around them, to change the world, is nit genug as bei Yidden is da not ein kav. It's not enough that Yidden are connecting to Hashem just in one category. The beginning from Sion, whether this is Sion, which is the Avos Hashem, or the beginning from Yerushalayim, which represents the Yiras Hashem, not as Dav Zayin beide kaven zusammen. When you are really connected to something fully and completely with an MS, so then it's not limited to this category or another. In der Beginnes Zion, the Teire darf sich anhören, Yerushalayim und Dvar Havaya. It should be both together. Was Navedis Adam meint das, as der Ave, mitoch Ave, v'seichel, v'oinig, darf sich anhören, Shleimus Abittel. A combination of, it's when a person is connected to something on one hand, it's completely his seichel and his tainug and his pleasure. At the same time, though, infused with absolute bittel. An azayach leidach gisa in beginnes Yerushalayim und Dvar Havaya darf sein euch seichel v'tainug v'chayis. Although it's absolute bittel, but at the same time, it should be a bittel that is permeated in your seichel, in the life of the person and his pleasure. That's when it's real. That's the real concept of emes. As it's brought in other places, when you get to the word emes itself, I think the market is from a Yerushalmi. Yerushalmi says, what is the word emes? Aleph, Mem, and Tov. You're combining from the beginning, the end, and the middle, even though they're far apart and they're opposites. But the real concept of emes is someone or something that's not limited in one category or defined. Emes is through and through. That's the kind of Aveda we're talking about here. On Beshas, as is da, the Iskalalus, from Beide and Yanim, Tzia and Yerushalayim, Demolt is da an inyan from emes, which is Midas Shel Yaakov. As Chazal say, Yaakov's inyan is emes. Das is ein ganze Metzius. It's the whole entire person, not in one area or another, but he's completely and fully be'emes there. B'meila is in them nitok and hefsek v'shinuyim. It's then when you have an everlasting Beis Hamikdash. When it's real emes, it's not just in one category. There's no changes. Und der Riber ist das der Tam, v'holchu amim rabim, v'omru luchu, v'nal al haravaya al beis al keyake, v'yireini medracha v'nechel bar chaysav. It's dafka this Beis Hamikdash, which is the bias, connected Yaakov, which has that MS, that influences the whole world. That changes even the Goyim. Well, das ist ma'eirer die amim zu limud ha-teire, und die Inyanim von Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Noach, in the Inyanim von Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Noach, right, to learn Teire only in those matters, und zu Shleimos in Zeh Kim. And also in fulfilling the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, which is Nelcha Be'ar Chaysav, that they follow in the path of fulfilling the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, which connects back to the Sicha that we learned before this, which is the Sicha where the Rebbe discusses about the Umas Ha'ilam, L'asad Lavai, that they will be L'asad Lavai, L'kula Alma. And here the Rebbe says that not only that, they will actually see the emes of Yidden in such a powerful way that they will come to the Beis Hamikdash and learn the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach and be Makayim Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach. And every Yid will have Om Duzarim V'Rod Tzeichem will have a big right. Only the good guys, exactly. They'll all be serving us. Take it from the Yad Mamish.